The 2019 Audi A7. What started as the Audi Sportback concept in 2009 took a quick turn and morphed into the Audi A7 Sportback for 2010. It's been 7 years since the first A7 rolled into our presence, and you know what that means. It's time for the second-gen model to finally make its way into the limelight, and make its way it did as Audi looked back on its history and presented us with what is, essentially, a hatchback A8 with some serious steroid-induced muscles to go with an equally sized bad attitude. The whole package includes the wide, low grille from the A8, which is flanked on each side by evolved A8 headlights and a pair of fake vents down below. The base motivator provides the same horsepower as the outgoing model, 340 ponies, but delivers a bit more torque. The interior is also a focal point of the second-gen model, as it sees a pretty serious upgrade over the previous model and borrows some cues from the A8 while at the same time pushing that A8 DNA to a serious extreme. All told, the A7 is much more attractive inside and out in comparison to the outgoing model, but it comes off a bit slower to 60 miles per hour and carries the same limited top speed. So, if its performance increases that you're looking for, you might want to check out another German manufacturer, but if you're all about having fresh looks in a luxurious and sexy package, you'll want to keep reading and check out the full review below. Official video. Exterior. Sure, the exterior does feature a lot of the cues seen on the new A8, and these will trickle down to the rest of the lineup, but for now, the exterior is quite fresh. Usually, this is where I bash Audi for being lazy or passive with its generational shift, but I have to say I'm somewhat impressed. Sure, the exterior does feature a lot of the cues seen on the new A8, and these will trickle down to the rest of the lineup, but for now, the exterior is quite fresh. Up front sits that wide, single-frame grille first seen on the Audi Quattro concept and then later on the A8. It represents the next stage of evolution for Audi's grille design, with a look that's reinforced by the small air dam down on the lower lip. Flanking the grille on either side is a rather large fake air vent with a somewhat stylish black insert for extra character. Then, there are the headlights. Now, if you haven't been paying attention lately, you probably think you've seen these before. Well, you wouldn't exactly be wrong, as the new A8 features headlights of the same shape. However, the A7 sees an evolution of these that includes those unique running lamps that also double as amber lights when signaling. The hood takes on a new look that includes more muscular lines and a slightly elevated profile in comparison to the outgoing model. The outside lines are more elevated than their more centered counterparts, which provides a bit of contrast and prowess up front. As you walk along the side of the new A7, you would be blind if you didn't notice those enticingly designed 21-inch wheels and the muscular body line in the rear quarters. The stationary glass comes to a point a little lower in the rear, while the trim around the windows are thinner than ever and, despite being chrome, blend in nicely with both light gray and blue models seen here. The most intriguing feature from this view is the roof, which has a smooth but steep grade to it, vaguely reminiscent of the Porsche 911. Around back is where the most interesting, and painfully obvious design can be found. Around back is where the most interesting, and painfully obvious design can be found. Take a look at those taillights. They just scream Bugatti and are quite attractive. However, I'm not so sure that I'm fond of the way the outer units are linked by the thin LED strip. It almost looks as if it's one of those funky stitch band-aids. Anyway, those vertical LED strips will flash in sequence with the application of the turn signals, while the lower units will illuminate brightly when the brake lights are pressed. Down below, a simple black and body-colored insert fills the area normally reserved for a diffuser or exhaust outlets. All told, the car is quite attractive but is quite a bit thinner above the waistline. Audi hasn't released all specifications yet, but it comes in at 195.6 inches long, 75.6 inches wide, and 56.4 inches long. It has a wheelbase of 115.2. To put that into perspective, the wheelbase and height has increased by half an inch over the outgoing model, while the length has dropped by 0.6 inches. Finally, the second-gen model is actually 8.6 inches shorter, thinner than the outgoing model. Again, Audi has yet to release interior dimensions, but I'm guessing that shoulder and hip room will suffer inside due to this, but we shall see. For now, enjoy the images and move on to the interior section when you're ready. There's lots to talk about there too. Exterior dimensions. Interior. It takes the boring and lazy lines of the last model and replaces them with young, vibrant, and intelligent-looking design cues. Remember when I said that I was somewhat impressed with Audi's work on the A7? Well, I'm going to double down on that statement, as this interior is absolutely revolutionary. It takes the boring and lazy lines of the last model and replaces them with young, vibrant, and intelligent-looking design cues that makes you wonder whether or not Audi poached someone from a company that knows how to stir things up a bit. First off, the dash gets a stepped look that provides a large plateau up top with an angular overhang above the instrument cluster. The vents are positioned on the face of this plateau and almost look like gates sitting atop the lower step on the face of the dash. The center stack is graced by a 10.1-inch screen that is downright classy in comparison to the outgoing model, with the gloss black surround glass blending nicely into the dash. When the screen turns off, it all looks like one big piece, a very nice touch. Down below sits a smaller, 8.6-inch touch screen that offers up control for the climate control system, comfort system, and text input, despite the fact that the car itself is actually just over a half-inch shorter than the outgoing model. It's quite surprising that the interior looks so long up front. The overall design of the center console and the smaller dash itself yields lots of extra room, and the longer look of the console lends a helping hand to the feeling of space and length. The steering wheel on the base model doesn't get a flat bottom or anything of that nature, but the spokes of the steering wheel extend outward a bit, with the central hub, which is smaller, sitting deeper in the wheel to provide a cone feeling. Ahead of the wheel, you'll see a typical instrument cluster, but if you go with the MMI Navigation Plus option, you'll get full navigation to go with the 12.3-inch Audi Virtual Cockpit as displayed above. Options include Valcona leather upholstery, ambient lighting, MMI Navigation Plus with Virtual Cockpit, and your selection of 4 sound systems. Options include Valcona leather upholstery, ambient lighting, MMI Navigation Plus with Virtual Cockpit, and your selection of 4 sound systems, with the range-topping model being the usual Bang & Olufsen advanced sound system. And, sometime in 2018, the A7 should see the Audi AI Parking Pilot and Audi AI Remote Garage Pilot come to life, which will allow the car to essentially park itself in your parking spot or garage at the press of a button. This system, depending on which model you have, can have up to 5 radar sensors, 5 cameras, 12 ultrasonic sensors, and a laser scanner. Talk about some technology, huh? 3 driver assistance packages are available that, in all, offer up as many as 39 different driver assistance features. This is getting a little ridiculous, I know, but this isn't a joke. Those 3 packages include the Audi AI Parking Package, the City Assist Package, and the Tour Assist Package. You'll have to check with your local dealer when the new A7 goes on sale if you're interested in the dirty details, but until that happens, keep reading to learn more about what's happening under that hood. Interior dimensions, drivetrain. All models of the A7 will be considered mild hybrid electric vehicles (MHEV), which operate a little differently than the typical hybrids on the road today. If you're going to go sign over a check for the new Audi A7, you should probably know that you're also buying a hybrid vehicle. That's right, Audi is forcing hybrid technology on you without so much as an option to go with an all-engine system. All models of the A7 will be considered mild hybrid electric vehicles (MHEV), which operate a little differently than the typical hybrids on the road today but operate under the same principles. A small lithium-ion battery pack is on board that works with a belt alternator starter to recuperate performance while braking, essentially turning your wasted inertial energy into an electrical voltage that can be used later on to freewheel at speeds between 34.2 and 99.4 miles per hour with the engine deactivated, with the engine starting via that BA only when necessary, and it should do so seamlessly as well. With that in mind, this system will be connected to a 48-volt electrical system, 36 volts more than the usual 12-volt systems found in a majority of cars built prior to 2010. This holds true for both V6 engines on offer with the Sportback. However, we only know about one of those engines, the one available in the base model that will be available when production starts in the near future. The trim level is known as the A755 TFSI. If you need help understanding the naming structure, check out our breakdown here, and holds a 3.0-liter V6 under the hood. Like the outgoing model, it delivers just 340 horsepower, but it does see an increase to 368.8 pound-feet of torque, 43.8 pound-feet more than the outgoing model. The A7 Sportback makes the 62 mph sprint from a dead stop in 5.3 seconds, which is, oddly, a tenth of a second slower than the outgoing model. With this engine in tow, the A7 Sportback makes the 62 mph sprint from a dead stop in 5.3 seconds, which is, oddly, a tenth of a second slower than the outgoing model. Top speed is set at a very German 155 miles per hour and, according to Audi, the 3.0-liter can achieve 6.8 liters per 100 kilometers fuel economy, or about 34.6 mpg, not bad for a car this size. Remember when only compact Japanese cars could pull those figures? It doesn't all stop there, though. One of the coolest options you can for is the dynamic all-wheel steering. When paired with the updated electronic chassis system and air suspension system, you'll find the new A7, according to Audi, is more agile and nimble before, apparently, delivering true GT-style handling and performance. Wheel sizes can be had as high as 21 inches with 255 35th series tires that match aluminum caliper brakes with the largest brake rotors measuring 15.7 inches in diameter. 4 suspension systems are on the option block, with your standard steel spring system being the base option, or the sport suspension system being the next best option with a 0.4-inch body drop as well. There's also an electronically controlled damping system and a self-leveling adaptive air suspension system as well. Drivetrain specifications. Pricing. Pricing information for the new A7 is quite limited at this point. The entry-level 55 TFSI will be the initial model to hit dealers, and it will come in at €67,800. Pricing will go up from there, but you'll have to wait until February of 2018 to see what other trims and pricing to expect. Competition. BMW 6 Series Gran Turismo. Essentially a mix between a sedan, a station wagon, and an SUV, the 6 Series GT is BMW's answer to the Audi A7 Sportback, and it serves as the resident funkymobile in the Bimmer's lineup. It has all of the luxuriousness you would expect on the inside while coming in significantly taller, wider, and longer than the new A7. The base model includes a 2.0-liter that's good for 258 ponies and 295 pound-feet of torque. The next level up is a 3.0-liter inline-6 that's good for 340 ponies and 332 pound-feet, your real A7 competitor. Finally, there's a 3.0-liter diesel that's good for just 265 horsepower but does pump out some 457 pound-feet of torque. Pricing for the 6 Series is a mystery at the moment, but it should start out around $61,000 or so. Read our full review on the 2018 BMW 6 Series Gran Turismo. Mercedes CLS Coupe. Mercedes Resident Sportback comes with a CLS badge, and it features typical Mercedes design with an AMG grille, and a wide mouth down below that is flanked by a large pair of Mercedes corner vents. The exterior design is sharp, as is the interior, while 2 engine options will fulfill your need for speed and power. In the base model, you get a 4.7-liter V8 that's good for 402 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque. It can sprint to 60 miles per hour in as little as 4.9 seconds. If that's not good enough for you, you can jump up to the AMG showroom and snag yourself an AMG CLS 63S Coupe, which is motivated by a hand-built 5.5-liter V8 with 577 horsepower and 590 pound-feet on tap. It'll get you to 60 miles per hour in around 3.5 seconds. Pricing starts out at $75,150 or $77,650 if you want 4 MATICAWD. The range-topping AMG model will set you back a whopping $108,900. Read our full review on the 2017 Mercedes CLS Coupe. Conclusion. This is one of those cases where I almost feel horrible for bashing Audi so much in the past. Normally the company does very little to improve its generational or facelifted models, but the brand really did go all out with the new A7. Unfortunately, this will probably be short-lived, as everything you see here has pretty much trickled down from the A8 and will slowly trickle down to the rest of the lineup. The A7 may look fresh now, but by 2020 or 2021, you'll find that the lesser models in the lineup have the same styling cues and your new A7 won't be quite so fresh anymore. Be that as it may, the A7 is, for now, quite impressive, and I would be lying if I said I didn't want to find myself driving one on occasion. How about you? Does the new A7 tickle your fancy, or would you prefer something else? Let us know what you would like in the comments section below. Love it. New exterior look, nice interior, sleeker dimensions. Leave it still a bit expensive, borrows a lot from the A8 drivetrain, options are up in the air, references. Audi A7. Read our full review on the 2017 Audi A7. Audi S7. Read our speculative review on the 2019 Audi S7.
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.